What we're dealing with today is not just the unjust persecution of a person of principle who attempted to provide to the citizenry and the public our information that we have a right to know, information that exposed that private corporations are spying on us, intruding on our lives, attempting to tar us as terrorists, and that's not hyperbole. I brought a lawsuit with co-plaintiffs, including Alexa, who you just heard from, and in that lawsuit we used the dump of emails, some of the emails that Jeremy had provided that were between Stratford officials. They were trying to link Alexa's group, U.S. Day of Rage, an electoral reform group, with Al-Qaeda. Why? Because they are not only criminalizing nonviolent democratic dissent, which is essentially what happened today in that courtroom, but they are trying to use draconian terrorism laws to challenge those of us who are confronting a dysfunctional, broken system, a corporate totalitarianism, to charge us as terrorists and lock us away forever. This judge should have never, ever been allowed to rule in this case. First of all, she's an ideologue, a federalist. She comes from a fundamentalist point of view, a distorted legal point of view, which supports a kind of corporate ideology. Secondly, her husband's law firm does work for Stratford. And if she was not the Chief Justice, she would have been forced in a functioning legal system to recuse herself. Now, the danger of what happened today is this, that the assault on figures like Hammond, like Barrett Brown, like Assange, Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden, is really the kind of assault that is essentially attempting to crush any possibility that the public can be informed about what the centers of power are doing. And as a former journalist, a former investigative reporter for the New York Times, I am stunned that the rest of my colleagues, well, I mean, frankly, I'm not that stunned, are not here. Do they read history? Don't they understand that in the march of totalitarian systems, it is headed right up to their door? And the utter inability to see. We look back at Weimar and we ask, how could they not have known? Well, this is one of those moments. How could they not have known? Where were they? And what is the consequences of this? When you have a court system that is, in essence, a subsidiary of the corporate state, and that's what she ruled for. She ruled on behalf of the corporate state today and denied justice, not only to Jeremy Hammond, but to all of us, to all of the citizenry. When you have an electoral branch that is wholly bought and paid for by the corporate state, when you have a president who is a brand, the public face of the corporate state, when you have a media that is totally controlled by a half dozen corporations, then you shut down the possibility of incremental or piecemeal reform. And history has shown that when they continue to carry out verdicts like this, and let's remember that what Jeremy did was a non-violent act of civil disobedience, an act of conscience. When people who have a conscience and courage, the kind of courage that Hammond had, that are locked away, then inevitably you push the country towards violence. And Hammond is a member of the Black Bloc. I saw him last Wednesday. He doesn't like my position on the Black Bloc, which is fine.
None of us do.
None of you do. There you go. But you know what? I don't think anybody should be criminalized for what they believe. And I believe in the Black Bloc's right to exist. And I believe in everybody's right not to suffer persecution. That's a debate we had. And it did not deter me, and I speak again as a reporter and as somebody whose lawsuit was dependent on the information that he provided. We have to fight for, no matter what their ideological stance is, those who stand up like Hammond and have the guts to defy the system. And I would say, if there was anything, there was very little things I've seen more moving, maybe Manning's own elegant statement, than I saw today in this courtroom. Everything we do now not only has to be to free in any way possible Hammond and to raise the consciousness, but to fight the fight that he began. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Denial of service sit-ins on publicly available websites are called cyber attacks. Disclosing documents to a journalist or publisher which reveal government and corporate wrongdoing and criminality is called espionage and computer fraud and abuse.
Charge under the Espionage Act. I was turned into an enemy of the state. That was bad enough. At least I still had access to the court of law, to a due process. I had rights. And as much as the government didn't like that,